Module 9, we move into the area of what we call inferential statistics. Now, what we have been doing in the past prior to probability was looking at descriptive statistics, right? Where we use it to statistics to kind of describe our sample data, right? And so that we can learn something about the population. So for inferential statistics, what we want to do is we want to make predictions or test claims about a population, right? And so in this short example, to kind of describe or show you the difference between those two. In one example, we calculate a statistic and we get 78% or the proportion of our sample drive to work. 78% is a statistic. That's a descriptive statistic. And then when we move to describe our population, right, or estimate a value in the population, right, a parameter, we say something like 76.7, between 76.7 and 79.3, right? This is an example of what we call a confidence interval, right? And this is inferential statistics. We're making inferences, right, with some level of certainty, like 90% confident or 95% confident that we think, right? Because we never know the true value, that we think it's between these two numbers. And that slight move, right, is in the world of inferential statistics, right? And we use it to make predictions, claims, right? Test them about the population. Now, we need to consider inferential statistics because rarely, remember, do we have a census, right? We don't have data from all the people. And so everything's an inference, right? Making it an estimate about the population. There are reasons why we can't get a census. And the one that's often overlooked and it's hard to understand sometimes is the population, right? From day to day is always changing. So we never really, right, have a full population data. Even if we think we interviewed or got data from everyone, the population, it does change, right? Pretty much from day to day. And so that's where we have to consider why we use statistics and specifically inferential statistics. So in inferential statistics, two specific things we do are create intervals, confidence intervals, and conduct hypothesis tests. The purpose of a confidence interval is to make an estimate about some value in the population. We're making an estimate because remember, we never know the exact value. We never have the data from all the population, so it's always an estimate. And the other tool we use in statistics is hypothesis testing, and we use this to test the plausibility of an assumption about a parameter, right? We have an assumption about maybe 50% of the people believe in ghosts, right? How would we test that plausibility? This is where we would use a hypothesis test. And important here in this table of values is the different types of questions we ask lead us to whether we conduct a hypothesis test or calculate a confidence interval. And so it's important to distinguish between these two types of questions. In general, a yes or no question, right? Versus where you're asking yourself to give us a value, an estimate. What is the mean GPA? How long do flights? Those are quantitative questions versus is the proportion of people who prefer to use a credit card instead of cash higher than 50%, right? Notice those yes or no types of questions. That's a hint into the types of tools you're going to use when conducting inferential